few things of what we've talked about. Okay, we're going. All right. So there is a little bit of boring stuff that needs to happen here. Okay, but ultimately it'll be very helpful for you. If you, what we're looking for is what we call natural notes. So just alphabetic music, the musical alphabet of A, B, C, D, E, F, G, back to A again. And it's like a clock, you could say. You've got A at the top and you're going all the way around to A. If we start on E, we want to go all through the alphabet and come back to E o'clock again, you know? So it's good to see it in a circular way that way when you're dealing with it on one string. So it's like I've got E as my open string. E and F live next door to each other. And this is the only rule we need to know. E and F and B and C on whatever string, they are going to be a semitone apart. There's no B sharp or C flat, right? So that's going to tell us something about the pattern of the natural notes on each string. E, F, jumping over for G, jumping over for A, jumping over for B, C is next door. Skipping over for D, skipping over for E. And then if I get back to the 12th fret and I've got an E, then I've got it right. If I thought that B and C were apart, then I'm in trouble, right? If I think that's C, then I'm in trouble, right? So, and that couldn't happen. You know, you just have to go back and trace it through. It's very simple, obviously, but it takes a bit of getting used to. Then I've got A, and this is another string. The A string is where a lot of our root notes for our chords are going to happen. So we need to know all about it, right? A. B is not next door. And that's the confusing thing about the first few frets. We can't, A is there, B is not next door, it's over, right? C is next door. Because we're just talking about natural notes, we don't care about B flat yet, we just want B, right? B, C, over for D, over for E, F is next door. Over for G, over for A. We've got back to A, we've completed the alphabet, if you like, all the way through, right? And it's good to get it on the D string as well. You see, okay, D and E, are they next door to each other? No. E is in the 2nd fret. E. F is next door though. G, A, B, C is next door, D is at the 12th. So the pattern of the E and F and B and C has changed again on that string. You'll find it changes on every string, apart from the top string being the same note as the, you know. So the pattern will be the same on those two. Yeah. So then this is a big help in terms of making a few chord shapes down here transferable right through the neck, and this is the whole principle of bar chords. It is nuts to think that we have to go through and rote learn where B flat and C sharp is. Like rote learn, I mean by some kind of memory with no guide as to what's going on. The big guide here is that the E chord, when it's played as an open chord, has its root note as the open E string. So if I want a big F chord, all I need to do, obviously E and F live next door to each other, I change the fingers, and what I could do first is just move it all one fret. That's F already, but I need a root note, okay, E, F. All I've really done is just move the E major chord up and create the guitar again, like a capo, right? And then if I know that G is there, then I just build the chord off that. If I know that B is there, that's where the B chord is. C's right next door, D's up there, okay? This isn't a chord that gets used a whole lot, you've got to know what it is, and then maybe you might choose just to play that part of it, or even just that part of it. Or play the root note with that part of it, or whatever. You can break it down once you understand the full body of it like that, okay? And that works for the minor chord, and it also works for the 7 chord. So we looked at E major, E minor, and the one that we looked at, the new one, was just the E7 chord. So those 3 variations of the E chord will just work with the barring all the way through. And later on, when you get really familiar with that, someone wants a C sharp chord, no problem. C sharp, what is it? C sharp 7, great, no problem. There you go, there it is. Right? Shouldn't take that long to find it. So then on the A string, the A string is the root note for all our A chords, like A minor, A major, and A7, which is that guy with the open 3rd string. Okay? So once again, just simple variations of shape to create the A minor, A major or A7. Now, what if I want to make that shape work for me all up the neck? I need to know what the root note is on the 5th string. I go to C. So, for instance, you don't find a C minor chord as an open chord. The first thing you're going to do is go there and create your A minor shape, actually. And suddenly you've got C minor. Same for B minor, you know. B minor doesn't exist as an open chord. So you're playing a chord progression from G to D to B minor. Suddenly you need a bar chord. No other way around it, right? And that's the one. That can also be broken down just to be a small shape on the top or something, you know, or take one finger off and it's a minor 7, you know. The other chord shape we looked at. So that is, you can see, really sort of theoretically that's really simple. It's just a familiarity thing, and it's getting your fingers used to recreating this little shape around the neck with a new root note, you know, and not being too confused about how that might work, right? Going back to the E string, if I've got, say we go back to B, right? So I've got E, F, G, A, B. Okay, B major, great. Take one finger off, B minor. Okay, B7. So we've got those three sorted out, right? When I play the B minor, there's an unnecessary note here. The 5th doesn't really need to be in there. If I want a B minor 7, I can take that one off as well. So suddenly I've got that. If I don't need that, I change the shape. So really what I've got is a B and like a minor 7 chord on top, a minor triad with the flat 7. So that's very easy little 1 fret chord. And the way to avoid the 5th string is to curl that 2nd finger up a little bit and flatten the 3rd one down. Now that's a great little shape for moving around. You can add what they call the minor 9, the 9. So if I'm now in B, it's going to be top string, you know, jumping over, yeah. Suddenly you've got a sort of minor chord shape that's really working for you. That's not going to be as funky as that. You know, that's just really kind of ordinary in comparison to that. You know, and that's how things to change quickly on the guitar. Because I've taken out some unnecessary stuff and I've put it into a shape that actually wants to move and work well for me. And we're going to look at a lot more, you know, shapes like that people really use, like real good, you know, like in the world of playing guitar. That's what people do. They don't really always play the big bar chord shape, you know. Now the other thing that we talked about was just the major scale and you know, the big chord movements, the big movements in any given key. So we could be bold and just say that every key has these kind of platforms, you know. So if I'm in the key of G, the C chord is a big one, you know. I mean, how many thousands of songs have that kind of, you know, movement in it? It's just everywhere, you know. And then also G to D is a big deal, right? Such a big deal it's kind of boring. I mean, you know, you want to avoid writing a song just with that through it all the time because it's kind of like, you know, we've heard that before. But it's necessary, right? It's necessary. So that's the C that's in the key of G, C, D. So we know those guys. And then the E minor, so the relative minor. Now the way that I figured that out was I go to my major scale, G, A, B, the 4th degree is C, the 5th note is D, and the 6th note is E. But that goes for every key, which means I need the major scale, right? I need to know it in every key. The first pattern to go for, I would say, would be just try 1 octave off finding our root note on the bottom string, on the low E string, and just go through the natural notes again, starting on G maybe, go G, right? And so I'm going 3rd fret to the A on the 5th fret. Then I go back to B on the 2nd fret, C, D. So I've gone 3rd, 5th, 2nd, 3rd, 5th, 2nd for the E, 4th for the F sharp, the only incidental in this key, like the only sharp, and then G, right? Very simple, user-friendly major scale in 1 octave, right? And then go through and find it in A, root note, bottom string, A. Exactly the same pattern, B, C, D. Even if you just do that much, then go through each one of them and find me the fourth, the fifth, and the sixth. The fourth, the fifth, and the relative minor, which is the sixth. If I go to A, it's going to be A, B, C, D, E, F sharp. Right? If I think about it in the context of a song, A to E, to D sharp, to D, to F sharp. You can see how they would all live together in a key beautifully, right? And then you go to B, C sharp, D sharp, E, F sharp, G sharp. So now we know that E is a big thing in B, right? So if I've got B, the big open E chord is going to start popping up, right? And then for my relative minor, I'm in G sharp. For my 5 chord, I'm in F sharp. So this is a bit tricky because there's some more sharps and stuff, right? And then if I go to C, F, G, A, much easier. That's why C, you know, F, G, A minor. It's a very open chord key. Just using those 4 chords in that key. Then D, D, E, F sharp, G, G, A, B. Right, so if I'm in the key of D, that means G is a big thing, A is a big thing, and B minor is my relative minor. So the whole thing I just did in C, I'm going to be able to do easily in G as well. That you can hear, they're the big kind of movements in the key, right? So that's a start, man. You just do that.